to me, this is the topic of the show. I say that because we had, again, for a lot of people, we're very disappointed with the fact that Avowed has been confirmed not only to be delayed, but its official release date is February 18th, 2025. Now, for me, sure. Was it one of the games that I was most looking forward to? Yes. Do I absolutely love Obsidian told stories? 1,000%. Is it in Pillars of Eternity, something that I have no affiliation with? I cannot wait to learn about the world. Yes. So am I disappointed? Yeah, I get it. It's just another game that I'm not going to get a chance to play this year. But you know what? Ultimately, there are so many games, and I'm not just talking about Xbox games. You have listen, don't boo me. Astrobot, one of my most anticipated PlayStation 5 games. I love platformers. And like a big old nerd, I'm buying a freaking controller as well, right? Nintendo has a ton of stuff coming out this year. And let's talk about the third party. I mean, there are you have the new Assassin's Creed, which I don't have to pay for because I have Ubisoft Plus. You have the new Star Wars game, I don't have to pay for. I got Ubisoft Plus. There are so many games that are coming out, both indie and AA and AAA and quadruple A, that we don't literally have the time. So this one game being moved out into 2025, no big deal. So we have this happened August 2nd. We have a tweet from the official Xbox Twitter account. It says, so many games coming. As such, we are moving Avowed to February 18, 2025 to give players backlog some breathing room. Stay tuned for more information across, and again, I think a lot of this information is going to come the way of Gamescom, which is on the 23rd of this month. But Phil Spencer actually tweeted something that I thought was pretty interesting. He goes on to say this: we're proud of what the Obsidian team has accomplished with Avowed the game, and we want to make sure that they have the best launch possible. We look forward to you enjoying it along the rest of our lineup of games and updates coming this year and beyond. And the beyond that he's talking about, Fuzzy, and this is where I think we get an absolute rock solid, laser focused how they're going to finish off 2024 and how 2025 is going to be for games. Now, again, this is just my theory. This is my thought. You have a different opinion, by all means, you're entitled to it. But I think what was put out there by the official Xbox account dictates exactly how these games are going to be released, and more importantly, the order in which they are released. So bear with me as I read, Fuzzy. It says this: World of Warcraft, The War Within, scheduled for August 26th, 2024. Age of Mythology Retold, confirmed for September 4th, 2024. Aura, History Untold, September 24th in the same month. Those two games for RTS fans are going to be a dream come true. Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred DLC, October 8th. And of course, later that month, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 confirmed for October 25th. In November, you have Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and this is where we start to get into the TBA. And that is the last three big games. One is a DLC, one's a smaller side-scrolling beat-em-up RPG with a lot of legs, and one is my most anticipated games is Indiana Jones, The Great Circle. That is right after Flight Simulator. And again, it says TBA to be announced. Followed by that is Shattered Space. And after that, of course, is Towerborn. Now, what's interesting here, folks, is we've been hearing, Fuzzy, that Indiana Jones slated for December. Mm-hmm. I don't think so anymore. And here's why. If November 19th gets you Flight Simulator, right? We did hear that Shattered Space is supposed to be in September. That is the rumor around the 1-year anniversary of Starfield. That's also listed on the back end. Towerborn, again, we're getting a full reveal at Gamescom on the 23rd. I believe we get a release date for that. I think Indiana Jones is potentially, and again, this is just my opinion based on this. I think it's targeting November, the end of November. I think they're going to try and get this out before December because, listen, December doesn't really hit for a lot of games. If they released it, it'd have a lot of legs and a lot of room to be by itself. But I still think the Indiana Jones is a big enough title that that's November. Now, I want to get to the bottom tier here, okay? Because there's 4 games that are listed, and it's only 4. I think that this is the cadence, ladies and gentlemen, of the quarter, 1 game per quarter that we've been hearing about, specifically from Matt Booty, that he wants this cadence of AAA goodness to hit Xbox and Xbox Game Pass. So, Avowed confirmed for February 18th, 2025. After that, you have South of Midnight. I think that is second quarter. I think, and of course, the third game, Doom, The Dark Ages, multiplat. I think that is Q3. And Q4, which would be holiday 2025, you get Fable. Mind you, there's no Call of Duty next there, and there's no other games that we have heard that might be releasing, like, I don't know, the Clockwork Revolution might be out in 2025. They're going to have to sneak that in there as well. What are your thoughts of the roadmap? Do you think there's any breadcrumbs here to this being the 1 per quarter in 2025 and what we have left for 2024?
I think so. Like, for the most part, looking at the list of games that they have shown, we know that there's some other ones that are slotting in there as well. Like, we recently had Stalker 2 get bumped to November, even though it's not first party, but it is one that they're really pushing within Game Pass as well. So I think they're trying to be more strategic with some of their partnered games that they have and giving them time to breathe or giving them room. So that way you don't necessarily have kind of like what we had this past week, where 3 partnered games that went into Game Pass are almost right on top of each other. Not that that's a bad thing in any way, shape, or form, but I do think it creates a little bit of a backlog to some extent when, like for me, I started with Flintlock. I'm going to go ahead and finish that one off when I can. Also started Dungeons of Hindenburg, already wrapped up. Still Wakes the Deep. Want to get into what do you call them? Path of the Goddess. I've yet to actually touch it yet, but that's one that I would say I'm probably the most interested in, but I've yet to get to play it. But I eventually want to get to a point where I don't let some of these games stack up, because once you start stacking up a backlog, it's like good luck trying to get around to knocking some of those down from that. But moving Avowed, I think the big thing is we've seen improvement every time they've shown it, or at least I've noticed improvement, whether it's, the third person perspective that they kind of snuck in there or added, the hand-to-hand combat or the melee combat as far as in Avowed from first person looks improved versus like the earlier, displays of it. The hand magic and things like that look like they've improved as well. Some of the lighting and character design stuff looks like it has improved. So every time we see it, it shows that it's getting more and more polish. And if that means it doesn't come out until February, I'm perfectly fine with it, especially considering, and not to harp over like the gap that we had earlier in this year, but there was still stuff that came into Game Pass, but there were some that just solely focused on, first party. Well, after how 2023 ended, we should have had something before Hellblade 2 to kind of fit into that gap or something to that effect. But I think this movement here, negates that altogether for hopefully for next year. And I think they'll have enough of a stack that some of those games that we see, all 4 of those that are like not all 4, but like the other 3 that are TBA for 25 might actually be before June, because there are things like Clockwork Revolution out there. There are things like Contraband out there. There are things like Replaced that are out there. So they're going to have to squeeze those in key places, so that way you don't have too much overlap to the point where a game might get ignored. Nobody wants to see Xbox do like EA is famous for when they did Battlefield and Titanfall 2 at almost the same time. So Having that spacing definitely helps. I mean, Game Pass, you don't necessarily need that spacing, but I think they want to give each one of their games, I wouldn't say a fighting chance, but enough exposure, get people into it, have them either fall in love with it or try it. Maybe it's not for them and move on to the next title. But in any event, if you have it where you have title after title after title, weeks apart type of thing, it might become a little bit of an overload. And I don't want to have people out there saying, "Oh, we're getting too many games in Game Pass." Just don't say any of that stuff, but let them kind of space things out on their own type of deal. But yeah, I think this roadmap. Well, one, we have a roadmap, so let's be clear. We have a roadmap for Xbox. That's not necessarily the case on other platforms, but we have a roadmap for Xbox, and they've been, this past year and a half, if not the past couple of years, they've been getting better on consistency as far as fulfilling that roadmap. So one delay, I don't think it hurts anything. If anything, I think it makes it for a stronger lineup for next year. And I can't wait to look to see what we get, at the showcase for next year, or even possibly, the VGAs as a surprise kind of thing. But looking forward to Indiana Jones. My fingers are crossed that maybe it gets bumped up so it can be early November. So maybe it gets considered for Game of the Year. Who
Possible.
knows?
Yeah.
Would like to see that. And then maybe, hopefully Avowed doesn't get forgotten for next year's, potential Game of the Year nomination kind of thing. So I think, hopefully Matt Booty has his, flow chart out there and gets everything figured out as far as timing. But I think they're on the right track as far as that's concerned.
I agree. Like I said, it's just one game. They had a hell of a year so far. Depending on where you thought Hellblade was or it wasn't. I'm not going to fight you if you didn't like it. That's fine. But Game Pass has delivered tenfold. And again, I understand that there's going to be some people out there. Well, Boom, it's only been like one or two first party. Listen, they have a lot releasing this year. We read verbatim the list. Now, maybe not every game is for you, but of course, not every game is for every gamer. There are going to be somebody in this chat right now is like, you know what? I'm in on every one of those games. I'm not. I have no interest in Aura. I have no interest in any of the RTS stuff. It's just not my bag. Now, if you want to give me a new Aliens versus Predator RTS like you had on the OG Xbox, now we're talking. But it's fine. But there are a couple of games there that I'm really looking forward to. Gamsley, let's get your hot take on this. Do you think that based on this, we got a bunch of dates, some things we didn't get dates on, but those four at the bottom, I think they're specifically put there to let gamers know that yes, these are the four games that are coming out. I think that I think they're going to be one per quarter. That's just my hot take. How do you read the graphic?
Oh yeah, the one per quarter thing is going to happen. I think they just have way too many studios to fail it anymore. I think they got it. I think they got a good cadence to roll out. Not to mention third-party stuff and second-party stuff coming on to Game Pass and all that good stuff. It's a bunch of content. Avowed is kind of disappointing though. That I'm only saying it's disappointing because I really, me, I wanted to play that game so bad. I was talking up a storm about this game. I love this developer. I want to see that game come out and be good and do good, not because Xbox, but because I want to play it and it looks good. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in that. But when you look at the roadmap and you look at all the games coming out this year from, again, second party and third party and all that stuff, there's way too many games. Fuzzy just mentioned 4 games that I'm also like super invested in on Game Pass. I didn't complete any of them at the moment. Right now, I think I'm going towards, I think the most played game I have on Game Pass right now is Hinterberg. And I'm almost done that. There's just where Xbox is missing on the first party front, or if you want to even argue that, they're landing on their service, right? Things are just landing on their service that are really awesome. They're giving us that choice. So I don't think they have anything to worry about. Yeah, there's just so much coming out. I don't even know why we're even arguing the first party thing. Unless you're not a Game Pass subscriber. If you're not a Game Pass subscriber and you don't like Call of Duty and all that, then maybe I could see the frustration, right? If you look at it in that perspective, you look at it and you're like, well, I don't really care about these second and third party games. I was never going to try them anyway. I'm not subbed to Game Pass. What is it for me to be an Xbox Series S/X consumer? And all I have is Hellblade. And Avowed slips, and all I got is Diablo and expansions, and maybe I don't even play those games. Yeah, it's a little rough for me, right? Indiana Jones and Hellblade for me on my Series X and S this year is kind of lame. If that's all that's coming out. I don't want to attack Xbox. I'm not attacking Xbox. I'm just looking at a consumer level on the box right now, and I'm paying full price for things, and I bought it because of Xbox's first party interests, like, I don't know, Halo and all that stuff. I'm kind of a little bit let down at the moment. All right? And that's just me. I'm not talking about the other side. I don't give a crap about the other side. But if I'm looking at it as that, and I say I don't play Call of Duty, I'm just really interested in first party stuff, it's weird. But if Avowed landed, I think it would be a fantastic year. So that's my disappointment with the first party stuff.
It's a fair take. I mean, look, we're not picking sides here. I don't care where you play. If you play video games, you're enjoying it for one way or another. Mm-hmm. I support all three consoles. I'm happy to do it. There hasn't been much for PlayStation 5 for me. All the games that they had released that are exclusive either were not up my alley or didn't review good enough for me to waste the money. Will I buy Rise of the Ronin and Stellar Blade at the end of the year for $30 each? Oh, absolutely. Will I pay full boat? No, I am not paying $76.43 for those games. I'm just not. I have too much to play. There's just not enough time in a day for me to buy those games, keep them in the wrapper, and spend $150 on two games. I'm not doing it. So I'll get it at the end of the year the same way I bought a bunch of PS5 stuff last year. Nintendo, I get day and date. That's no problem. But I can do that because I get all my games in Xbox Game Pass, and that's awesome.
Well, you know what? Let's speak on that. Let's take a different angle, right? So, Nintendo, right? I'm a Nintendo guy. Oh, look at me. I'm a Nintendo guy. I bought a Switch this year. Well, actually, you know what? That doesn't even work because there's backlog. But let's just say I'm day one Switch user. I have my Switch going. I have all, I played it. I bought it for Zelda and Mario and the big bangers, right?
Right.
If you look at the last 3 years in Nintendo and you're looking at Princess Peach and Kirby, you're like, I don't what am I playing? I don't care about this. It's almost like the same comparison here. It's like I'm not buying Princess Peach and Kirby. I'm buying Zelda and 3D Marios and 2D Marios, right? And Mario Kart. That's what I'm buying a Switch. And in that level, in that sense, Switch in the past 2 years has flopped hard. 3 years even, you could even argue. So if you're looking at it in the same light for Xbox, if you're looking at the last thing I really loved as an Xbox first-party guy, and you see just Starfield, and all you're getting is Indiana Jones next, and yes, you can argue, well, Gamsley, Black Ops, and all this stuff. No, that's not what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about, all right? There's a difference. There's a difference in caliber and levels to your first-party lineup, and right now, Hellblade 2 is nowhere near what a Starfield is. We can't compare those two. Starfield is a gigantic game, and that's what we're talking about. Xbox hasn't landed on that yet this year. They just they just didn't. And neither did PlayStation, and neither did Nintendo. I'm just being level-headed here.
Right. Fair.
Yeah. Third party and second party has truly been lifting this year in many ways. And I don't know if you can argue on that with me, but yeah, they're about to hit Black Ops. Anyways, point is, Avowed would have been my saving grace for the year. I would be like, yes, I got Avowed. This is why I'm an Xbox guy or a Game Pass guy or whatever you want to call me. I'm super excited for Avowed. And now they're like, we're pushing it. And I'm like, fuck, sorry, my F.
Yeah, that's
but I'm like, damn, like I really love that's why it's a massive RPG that I'm really excited about. So seeing it slip is very saddening to me.